7 out of 10 automation testers struggle to explain the architectural differences between Selenium and Playwright. Let's break it down. Hey everyone, today we are breaking down Playwright versus Selenium, specifically how they work under the hood at the architectural level. Let's start with Playwright. What is Playwright? Playwright is an open source end to end automation testing framework developed by Microsoft. It is used to test modern web applications across major browsers like Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. Now, what are modern web applications? So, modern web applications are like single page applications where the entire page does not reload. Instead, only specific sections of the page update dynamically. And what do we mean by end to end automation? It means Playwright supports both UI and API testing. So, it allows you to test complete user workflows from front end to back end. Playwright supports following programming languages: JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, C Sharp, and Java. Here is where the architecture gets interesting. Playwright does not rely on external drivers. Instead, it communicates directly with the browser using WebSocket connections and the browser's native protocols. Think of it like this: your test code talks directly to the Playwright library, which maintains a persistent WebSocket connection straight to the browser. So, no HTTP translations, no separate driver processes, just fast and direct communication. And here is the game changer. Playwright comes with its own bundled browser versions. When you install Playwright, it automatically downloads and manages Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit for you. So, no more version mismatches, no manual driver updates. Just run one simple command npx playwright install and you are good to go. Now, let's talk about Selenium, which has been around since 2004, making it over 20 years old. It's the most widely used automation tool globally. So, what is Selenium? Selenium is an open source automation framework that uses W3C WebDriver protocol to interact with the web browsers. It supports multiple programming languages like Java, Python, C Sharp, JavaScript, and Ruby. But here is the key architectural difference: Selenium relies on external browser drivers. What does that mean? So, when we run our Selenium test, it does not directly talk to the browser. Instead, it goes through this chain. The test code sends command to the Selenium WebDriver. WebDriver translates these into JSON commands using the W3C WebDriver protocol. These commands travel over HTTP to a separate browser driver like Chrome driver for Chrome or Gecko driver for Firefox, and then that driver finally controls the browser. So we can think of it like sending a message through multiple translators before it reaches its destination, where each hop adds to latency. Okay, so what are the main differences you need to understand? Let's break down the architecture comparison point by point. First is the client layer. This is where our test code lives. Both tools lets you write tests in popular languages. Selenium supports Java, Python, C Sharp, JavaScript, and Ruby, while Playwright supports JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, C Sharp, and Java. Now, second is the driver layer, and this is a big difference. Selenium uses separate browser drivers: Chromium driver, Gecko driver, Edge driver. These drivers run as separate executables on the system. They translate WebDriver commands into browser specific actions. So, you have got multiple processes running. In Playwright, there are no separate drivers needed. It uses a single Node.js based process that handles all communication. Third is the communication protocol. Selenium uses HTTP requests with the W3C WebDriver protocol. Each command is sent as an individual request, and you wait for a response before sending the next one. On the other hand, Playwright uses WebSockets for persistent connections. The connection stays open throughout the test, and it supports bidirectional communication. This means the browser can send real time events back to the test instantly. Fourth is the browser interaction. So, the communication path to the browser is shorter and more direct in Playwright. While in Selenium, commands go through multiple layers, like from your test script to the WebDriver client to the browser driver, and then finally to the browser. On the other hand, Playwright interacts directly using native driver protocols. like CDP for Chromium, custom protocols for Firefox, and remote debugging for WebKit. Fifth is the driver management. With Selenium, you need to download and set up browser drivers separately. You can use tools like WebDriver Manager or Selenium Manager to automate this, but it's still an additional configuration step. In Playwright, browsers are bundled with the installation. So when you install Playwright, all the browsers come with it. No external driver setup is required. Now, if we talk about performance and speed, Selenium is comparatively slower due to HTTP request response cycles and the multiple processing layers between your test and the browser. Playwright is faster because of the direct, persistent connection and single process architecture. Less overhead means quicker test executions. That's it for today. If this helped you understand the architecture differences, hit subscribe and stay tuned for more automation testing content.